So you hear me talk about a lot of times perception is everything and nothing. Perception is everything and nothing because it encompasses all. And then there is a point at which it means nothing to you at all. I don't care how others feel. Yet at the same time, I do care how others feel. It is self-involvement as well as being aware of the world around you. It's about finding importance when you can become absorbed in the things in the world around you. Perception is everything and nothing. It is as vast as the universe, the multiverses that exist beyond here, beyond this plane, this blandness that we have found ourselves in the midst of. Perception is somewhere between here and there. It's obtuse instead of acute. It's very obtuse. Sometimes it's so obtuse that it lays flat, parallel. Sometimes it becomes so acute until it points downward. The same angle, down, spin. But in perspective, if you are able to utilize it to its fullest potential, then you will find that it is a 360 degree angle. It is circular. It is balanced. Therefore, it keeps continuing on and on and on. It is the continuum. It is the force perspective. The exception of light, the absorption of light, the translation of light, the refraction of light. It's all of that. It's everything and nothing. It's as simple as blinking your eye. It's as simple as opening the eye. Yet, it's as simple as closing the eye and seeing a world different from the visible world that you see with the visible eye. It's the world that is inside. I wrote a poem that I posted on here about mind journey, a journey in self. Mind's hole so deep, and when I first closed my eyes, all I could see and imagine were bills and troubles and woes, and I couldn't see in darkness. But there became a twinkle of light, and that light became images, and those images became visions, and those visions became dreams, which became so broad and so colorful and so full and so circular till they siphoned down into physical reality. And I was no longer bequeathed on my knee begging myself, the higher me, the higher being, to understand and to grasp the things around me. It became natural. because my eye, which is round, had the ability now to see 360 degrees outwardly and inwardly, all colors on the spectrum of perspective, including darkness, the feminine principle, and light, the masculine principle, the false darkness, the demons, the false light, the angels. Which were truly the angles and the degrees the basis of perspective. Well, you know, perspective is a delicate thing, and many question it, and they ask, how can one live and let live? How can one say that free will exists if we don't let and allow others to live freely just as they wish to reign and rule? But there is this thing called, how can we all be free if your actions are to the detriment of we? Meaning, if your actions that you do towards self will then turn negativity towards we, then I, understanding the full perspective, should not do selfishly, vainly, what will cause detriment to we. So I, exerting free will above that which desires to cause me, to cause devastation, I exert free will above that and say that I will not allow you to destroy what I know to be proper. And that is the building, the construction, the perpetuation, the deviation, the continuum, the ongoing cycle that should siphon up. But recently we are on a downward spiral, but that's still okay because the circle goes up and down, up and down, up and down, round and round and round, and where it stops, oh! I ain't gonna say the end part. They say nobody knows. But have you stopped ever to think about why it is you don't know? Where will stop and where will won't stop, where will go and where will not go. And when will goes there, will it accomplish the mission or will it fail? I learned in the midst of being on the wheel, in the wheel, making the wheel, trying to create the wheel, trying to ride the wheel, rode on roller coasters, rode on bikes, rode on skates, played with basketballs, played with tennis balls, played with lacrosse balls, played with rocks, played with sticks, played with all round objects. You play with oranges, throw them up and down. You should chunk cherries. I love cherry chunking. At the birds. Give them to the birds. But I like chasing them. They like to make you, think that it like dropped out of the sky or something and they just like discovered it. So you just chunk cherries. Chunk cherries for fun. Cherries and blueberries. I chunk fennel seeds, poppy seeds. I chunk pine nuts. Oh, I pollute the earth, y'all. I just pollute the earth. I throw out sunflower seeds. I throw out peanuts. Anyway, but these different things that we perceive on this scale of perspective, they are there, and we have to exercise balance with them. And the reason why we have to exercise balance, because it is that line that gives us the ability, that point in the midst of the circle that allows us to find circumference, allows us to find radius, allows us to draw circles, squares, any shape you want to within this circle. But the circle has form. It is rigid, and it is succinct in its nature. It is spherical, not spherical, F-E-A-R, but S-P-H-E-R-E. I don't even understand why they just don't say S-F-E-R-I-C-A-L. What is up with this PH shit? But anyway, one of the many nuances. Nah, I know where it's from. I understand. I like it. It's cute. Anyway, the many spheres, many wheels that turn and churn, they build. They create the many shapes. And depending on how they are compressed, molded, and shapen, you can get stars out of a circle. You can make squares out. Oh, there's so many. Just go sit in your room or your house, wherever it is that you are when you're viewing this video. If you have a piece of paper that isn't so important to you that you can't afford to manipulate it into a new form, grab your piece of paper and draw your circle, whatever size. Then start drawing shapes within that circle. And understand that every shape can be drawn within that circle. Understand that wholeness and completeness is within that circle. Look at the circle has form. You can make a pyramid with it, you can make a cone with it, you can make... Oh man, I love playing with a circle. Play with a circle sometimes, entertain yourself, come up with some new shit. But, you know, that's the thing about it. That's what I'm saying about perspective. It is everything and nothing. It's about taking the mundane or the seemingly mundane, the seemingly common, and transforming it into something glorious. And it is about taking what has been glorified and breaking it down to its base, least common denominator. What is that really about? I see. So when we do these things, when we open ourselves up to perspective, we have to know that because we are living in a world based upon scientific principles, based upon formalities, forms, F-O-R-M-S. No, I got an accent. People tell me it's really weird, but that's why I try to spell out my words sometimes, so you guys make sure you understand. Because sometimes I don't get with that whole annotation thing. I used to be into it a lot, but I'm not really with it these days. I don't know, people don't read. They'd rather just listen anyway. But formality, you know, the form that things are based upon right now. And the circle is a beautiful thing to be based upon right now. It's the black hole from which light tries to escape. Some light makes it out, and that's where we see the stars forming. A lot of light never makes it out, and that is the void that we also see within our communities and see within the darkest crevices of our own personal lives. So, with my perspective of life, of course, there are things that, you know, challenge me, because that is what life is about, challenges. And if there was nothing to challenge me, I can say for self, I would not want to be here if there were no challenges. And that is one thing at this particular moment that keeps the blood pumping. I know there will be a day for peace and rest. Of course, that's each and every day we take moments to enjoy those moments, hopefully, of peace and rest. But for now, while the cycle and the wheel is turning, I enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? And I try to explore every angle and every varying degree in this circular world that we do live in. So yeah, I just encourage everyone to keep digging in all areas of learning. Astronomy, delve into astronomy, delve into economics, delve into greenhouse living, ecological studies, environmental studies. Delve into all these different things because they will help to make a well-rounded person. Many of us are well-versed and know a great deal about what it takes to run a system in terms of organization, in terms of business, and in terms of the world that has been created. But a lot of us don't understand what is the basis of the operation on the land that we creating all this stuff on. So it's great to sometimes go and stand outside and feel the wind and feel which direction it's coming from. Stand outside and watch the patterns of the rain, or if you're driving, watch the pattern of the rain as it hits your car. Do you notice whether it's coming from the left or the right? Well, north, south, east, or west? Do you notice whether or not your tires are slick and it pushes your car forward more than it should? Are you conscious and awake and aware of the things and what's going on around you? And always trying to make sure that it continues in its natural process, unaffected by you in a way that causes it to die. So when we talk about this, I mean from the standpoint of perspectives, sometimes there's going to be negativity. Sometimes there's going to be judgment. Judgment is nothing but stance. It's the particular stance that you take. And it is the decision that is made. If there is no judgment passed, then there are no decisions made. And we have to make decisions. We have to decide to get up, to go to the bathroom, to use it. We could just sit here and go. That's what babies do. They decide, you know what? I just ain't ready for the toilet thing yet. When I get ready for the toilet thing, seeing as though that's where everybody goes, is in a little hole. And when you go in that little hole, everything becomes super concentrated and it becomes really, really smelly. Whereas when a dog poops outside, I never even notice it unless I step in it. Well, anyway. But we poop in a little hole because at a certain point we decide that we want to go along with what is standard. That's okay. There are standards. Standards are decisions that are made. Of course, we have to decide along the way whether or not the standards that have been created previously are applicable to today and today's situation, in today's circumstance, today's roundness, the way the angles are hitting the light, the way the light is hitting the cornea, or the way that the light is shining upon us today, whether or not it's relevant. So if we begin to look at it from that standpoint, I know within self that more of us will begin to understand how it is that perspective works. It is internal and external. It is micro and macro. It is exo and eso. It is inner and outer. But it's all that and this. It's everything in between. And a part of that is generation, creation. Part of that is organization. Coming up with how you're going to organize the things that you have learned. Many of us have learned a lot, but we have no line to draw. We don't have a line. It's just many different points. And we don't yet have a picture. We don't yet have a focus. So then we begin to connect these lines and reposition these lines and resituate these lines in order to find ourselves and concentrate ourselves, just as stars do. The dust collects and the dust builds and glows and feeds off of each other. The energies unite and they magnify and they become greater. They expand. Many of us are not expanding because we're not utilizing the external environments around us. We have closed ourselves up in homes, buildings, jobs, whatever it is that has you entrapped. And not looking at the world from a perspective that it is broad, it is wide, and it's varying. But within those variances, there are things that are natural to it, that allow it to maintain its homeostasis, and there are things that do not allow it to maintain its homeostasis, and they are invaders. And those invaders could be good or bad, depending on whether it's for the detriment or the building of all. Because you know what? Fungi. I love them fungi, mushrooms, fungi. I eat a lot of portobellos, because I don't eat a lot of meat, so I eat a lot of vegetables. And you hear me talk about vegetables a lot. That's why I like vegetables. And the fungi, you know, he's a part of what they consider to be detritus, the breaking down of, you know, stuff. You know, with the lichens and the, you know, moss and mold, ground bearing things, they grow together, but they break down things. They're beautiful. I love vultures. Vultures are beautiful because they eat the dead things that we drive down the street and roll over. Oh, I hit a squirrel today. That your Geico commercial, you know. Or, you know, you hit a possum, a squirrel, a deer, a bird, a kid, God forbid. But the things that we hit and we roll over, they come and clean those up. So they are good. So when we talk about it, we have to understand there are things that are perceived to be negative that still have their purpose. They still make a meaningful purpose in life. And there are things that devastate and destroy, and the purpose was just that, to destroy. There would not be any gain from it. But then that's where conversionary actions come in, the alchemy of life comes in, where you harvest something out of nothing. So yeah, perspective is everything and nothing. It's about building upon the many, you know, we talk about buildings, but it's not just one brick. It's not just one grain of mortar. It's not just one drop of water. It's a lot of drops of water, a lot of mortar, and a lot of bricks. There's a lot of manpower, a lot of resources spent, and a lot of area covered. It's a lot of space provided, and hopefully it should be a lot of usage in order to build, rebuild, and hope, and provide hope. So yeah, but things are shaky. Even though they are shaky, that is the process of alchemy. You can always change and convert things that seem as if it's impossible. I go by the quota all the time. Tough don't mean impossible. That's one mantra I repeat to myself every day. Tough don't mean impossible. So it might be tough sometimes to understand where other people's perspective is coming from. You can understand it, but you don't have to go there. I tell people that often. I understand where you are coming from. I understand where you are. I am here for you. I am here, right here for you. But I cannot go there for you. Only you can go there. That is your own. And if you were willing to let me be a part of it, I will always be here for you. But self, real true self, only you can go there for you. Only you can reach out to see the many varying perspectives. Spirit fingers. No, I'm just. But yeah, that's just my perspective. I always keep it lighthearted, because it goes deep, but it always comes back out light. It always comes back out light, because I love life. I do, yeah. I love you so much. I understand death. Death be not proud. I like that poem too. Check that out if y'all ain't read that. Death be not proud. I used to love to play that in band. I play French horn. Oh. Yeah. Death be not proud. It's a famous poem. And they wrote a score of music behind it. Death be not proud. That's one good one. Another good one. What's another good? I can't think of that other good poem. It's another good poem. Out of the night that covers me, black as a pit. From pole to pole, I think whatever I got from you from my uncomfortable soul. What is that? William Ernest Henley. Check that out. Check them poems out. I told y'all I would reveal to you guys some of my favorite poets. Most of my favorite poets are just real life, average day people who talk in such a melodic way, who have a way of storytelling and talking. They're unknown to the average public. My favorite poet of all time, my grandma. She had a way with words. Alright, you guys. I done babbled for about 30 minutes now. But it was necessary in order to give you an understanding of perspective. And a deeper, perhaps, a deeper glance into who I am. The many layers of MDsexy. Mind Dissection is sexy and takes a gentle caress. It takes a lot of patience, and it is the most vital virtue. We look for others to have patience towards us in our daily walks, but oftentimes we don't have patience with ourselves. Patience starts here. And I'm always here. I ain't going there, but I'm always here. Alright, peace.